Good evening and welcome to Boss FM Town Hall, y'all. I'm Jaleesa.
And I'm Taylor.
We will be your hosts for tonight's Town Hall.
Our purpose with this Town Hall and the ones to come is to increase voter turnout and overall participation in the election. Also, we want everyone to be informed with the latest updates on each of the candidates and provide tips on voting.
If you guys have any questions, please feel free to drop it in the chat or tag us on Twitter at BossFMDigital or at Black News Alerts, or use the hashtag BossFM Town Hall. We will answer any and all questions at the end of the show.
Now, without further ado, let's get started.
Well, let's hop into the Yes, the second presidential debate. Let's jump into it. So it took place in Nashville, Tennessee on October 22nd and was moderated by NBC News White House reporter Kristen Welker. This debate was different compared to the first because the commission was actually able to mute the microphone after each candidate allotted time. So how do you feel about that, Taylor? Because it made me feel a little good.
It made me feel good too because the president did say that he is not a politician, so I don't think that he has ever done debates besides the ones that he had to do in elections. So it's good that they put, some restrictions up so he knows, how to proceed.
Absolutely.
The first topic of the night was, of course, the current pandemic and the fight against COVID-19. Trump stated that roughly 2.2 million were expected to die. He mentioned some important breaking news. Apparently, the vaccine is ready and will be attained in the coming weeks, and Operation Warp Speed, where the military will disperse the vaccine to the public at a swift rate.
What was interesting is how he mentioned how he took something therapeutic for his COVID diagnosis. And apparently his words that this is an alleged cure and now it has made him immune in some way, shape, or form. The timestamp on the longevity of his immunity is still unknown, but it could be anywhere from 4 months to a lifetime.
Biden believes another 200,000 will be dead and encourages everyone to wear masks and encourages rapid testing. On a side note, the moderator definitely should have been the moderator for the first presidential debate because she was able to transition much more smoothly in comparison to the first debate.
100%. Because they should have done this with the first debate, like you just said. We eventually moved onto the school systems and those parents who fear sending their children will endanger their well-being, the teachers, and the families. President Trump believes that reopening schools should be safe because he says that young people will be fine, is his exact words, while Vice President Biden believes that the schools should have the proper resources in order to properly run.
On topic of national security, it was reported that the top intelligence officials confirmed both Russia and Iran were working to influence the election. Both are attaining voter registration letters, with Iran sending intimidating messages to Florida voters. Biden says he was not having it. He states that if elected, they will pay a price because they're messing with American sovereignty. Biden does also bring up the fact again, when Trump was meeting with Putin, he didn't say anything about infiltrating the election.
And then President Trump responded to the question stating that Biden received $3.5 million from Russia because he was friendly with the former mayor of Moscow. Trump mentioned that he never received money from Russia, and Russia would like Trump to lose because no one has ever been tougher on Russia than he has. Biden denies receiving a penny from any country. And of course, we are back on the topic of Trump's tax returns. And Trump says that he will be releasing his tax returns soon.
Trump also said the IRS is very unfair with him compared to everyone else. In quotes, "I've been a part of a very phony witch hunt. No other president should have to go through what I have gone through."
And what's confusing, really, it's kind of like a he said, she said type of game. Like, who's telling the truth here? Obviously someone has to be lying But then again, it's like, are they both kind of telling the truth? Are they kind of just saying what we want to hear so they can be elected? Like, this has probably been the most exhausting election in American history. I just want to bring up again how well the moderator did at this point. She was able to control the debate better than the moderators of the past, and she definitely deserves her credit. So I'm going to give her flowers.
I definitely think let's buy her a bouquet, because I do think she deserves her credit as well. When she was telling Trump, like, you have 10 seconds, Biden, you have 30 seconds, and then it was cut because we have things to do and things to get to, and the American people need to know, what is going on, honestly and truly, what you can provide and what you can't provide. One of the most talked about issues being healthcare. Over 20 million Americans get their health insurance through the Affordable Care Act. It's heading to the Supreme Court, and Trump wants to overturn the Affordable Care Act. If the Supreme Court does overturn it, 20 million Americans do lose their health insurance basically overnight.
See, what Trump did was terminate the individual mandate. And now it is in court. And what he would like to do is terminate Obamacare and come up with what he calls a better health care that would also help those with pre-existing conditions. Then his microphone got cut off because he was just talking too much. Then Joe Biden announced that he would like to do is build on Obamacare. So build Obamacare with a public option called Biden Care. The option states that if you qualify for Medicaid in the state, to get Medicaid, you are automatically enrolled, which is providing competition with insurance companies.
Yeah, it is. And another portion of Biden Care will be able to reduce premiums and drug prices while making competition. Biden supports private insurance and believes those with private insurance will not lose their insurance to protect those with pre-existing plans. Since we are on the topic of healthcare, those most affected are in struggling or low-income homes. On the topic of poverty, more than 12 million out of work and more families going hungry every day, with people of color and women being hit the hardest. Kristen Welker straight up asked Trump why a second release of the bill have not been passed.
President Trump basically put the blame on Nancy Pelosi for not approving the bill. Kirsten said, but you're the president. That was the statement of the night to me. Honestly, we need to forget the whole red versus blue agenda. People's lives are at stake here, okay? And for the most of the American people who are struggling because of this shutdown, $1,000 is chump change. And since we're talking about chump change and poverty and the topic of minimum wage, let me just get into it, okay? Because moving the minimum wage to $15. Biden supports the minimum wage even in this time. He feels like we should be focusing on the problem now. Small businesses who need PPE need the help now rather than later. But President Trump believes that raising the minimum wage will not help small businesses and it should be a state option. He also believes that if you raise the minimum wage, many small businesses will go under fire and fire their employees, which is interesting because President Trump also recently said that he would consider raising the federal minimum wage to $15. So personally for me, like, I live in Texas, but I'm from DC. And in Texas, the minimum wage is $7.25. But it's really, really cheap to live in Texas. So even though the minimum wage is $7.25, you probably could still afford to live somewhere that's not like below the poverty line, versus being back home in DC, where I think the minimum wage was like $13 or $14 at one point, but the state of living is really, really high. So I feel like it kind of goes by state, really, because it goes by environment. Like, I'm not going to be able to live in Texas with the same amount of money I would be making in DC and vice versa.
Exactly. I definitely agree, because I live in DC now, but I lived in Massachusetts, and every time that the minimum wage went up, the cost of living went up, the rent prices went up. So it kind of is a state thing when when they need to, but there's a whole lot of problems that goes into that, like rent capping and things like that.
Yeah.
But, another heated topic was immigration. Mm-hmm. The Trump administration recently separated children from their parents at the border, and it was at least 4,000 kids. He has recently reversed his zero tolerance policy, but the US can't locate the parents of more than 500 children. How will they be reunited? Will they ever find these parents of these kids? Trump said the children were brought by coyotes, cartels, and lots of bad people. They were brought to be used to gain access into the country.
Well, Vice President Biden made it clear within the first 100 days he will create a pathway to citizenship for 11 million undocumented people. He said that he will also give those DACA recipients recertification. Well, in the topic of immigration, the tone of this discussion, there are two completely different tones, okay? President Trump again refers to a group of immigrants as criminals, I hate to say, as we segue a bit more into the topic of race in this country. And here they bring up the talk, right? So the moderator discusses the conversation where parents have to prepare their children that one day that they could be targeted just for the color of their skin, and why these parents fear for their children's lives.
Can we talk about Biden bringing up the exonerated 5?
Absolutely.
When Trump pushed for these children to get the death penalty for a crime that they did not commit, if you haven't heard the story, make sure you tune into When They See Us, the Exonerated 5, on Netflix, and you'll see Trump's portion in swaying the public opinion by taking out an ad in the New York paper. Kristen circled back to race, explaining Trump's previous actions, first describing how Trump has described the BLM movement as a symbol of hate. Let's see that clip.
Fry them like bacon. I said, that's a horrible thing. And they were marching down the street. And that was my first glimpse of Black Lives Matter. I thought it was a terrible thing. As far as my relationships with all people, I think I have great relationships with all people. I am the least racist person in this room.
Well, what do you say to Americans who are concerned by that rhetoric?
I don't know. I don't know what to say. I got criminal justice reform done, and prison reform, and opportunity zones. I took care of black colleges and universities. I don't know what to say.
Let's also not forget he shared a video of a man chanting white power to millions of his followers and supporters, and stated athletes exercising their First Amendment should be fired.
I have a question as a Black American. Why does Trump continue to say, I'm the least racist person in this room? I'm not racist, but I'm the least racist, meaning that there's a small amount. Again, let's bring up the Muslim ban, saying that they will get rid of Mexican rapists, poor boys. I mean, the list goes on. Not to mention the people of color who are more likely to live near like oil refineries that could really make them sick. And the Trump administration has rolled back on the restrictions. And Trump states that those of color are making tremendous amounts of money because of it. Girl, what are your thoughts?
Honestly, on the debate, I do feel like there is a clear leader. Because I honestly feel like there's just, I'm sorry, let me just collect my thoughts before I even. There are things that need to be done for this country to look at the statue that we all think it is. Like, I just feel like the United States as a whole is losing a lot of respect watching this debate. I feel like our options aren't the best options. I feel like there's a lot of protocols that are being ignored. And I feel like, you know, it's not looking great as an American watching this. It's not looking like something that we've seen before.
Right.
Like, it's not looking like this is like the cycle of progression. It kind of looks like we're stalled.
Right. And this is why we will remind everyone to vote.
Please.
This is probably the most important elections to date. But let's move on to our next topic.
www.vote.org. has every piece of information you may need to vote. Again, www.vote.org. For example, it has information in order to locate your nearest polling locations, if you need to find early voting locations, and how to locate a drop box for your ballots. It also gives specific ballot information because the mail-in ballots vary by location. You can also vote by mail in case you can't or don't want to vote in person on election day.
The website also gives you guys an option to see if someone is registered to vote. Like we mentioned, anyone can find everything needed to vote in this election in every state's in its own election center. It's super easy. All you have to do is simply click on the information you may need, and that's it.
Yes, and it seems that every state has their own tracking feature. For example, on Google, if I type track my ballot, I can get a specific state link. So just choose your state and follow the directions by clicking the link, the state link, and inputting the proper information needed to track your ballot. Down below is an example of New Jersey's HTML link. You want to put your state initials .gov /state/elections/vote and then dash track my vote ballot. Okay, so to go track your vote and make sure that your vote gets to where it needs to get, because your vote matters. And I really want to stress that your vote matters. Okay, vote please.
Election day, voting in person. Election day is days away, guys. For those who will be busy on November 3rd, please take advantage of early voting. This election is probably one of the most crucial, especially considering that we're still involved in a massive pandemic.
Yes, in this election, everyone's voice matters. I can't say that enough. Everyone's voice matters. I just want to project. So let's actually invite a special guest to the platform who has actually voted to talk about their experience. Everyone, let's welcome Lydia Elmore.
Hi, guys.
Hi,
Hey, Lydia, welcome. Why don't you tell us what the voting experience was like, especially for our first-time voters?
Absolutely. So the voting experience is really simple and really easy. When I went, all I needed was my ID, my driver's license. Now, I heard if you don't have your driver's license, you can also use your passport because it works the same. It has your signature on it and it has all the same information. So that works well as well. So you just, when you walk in, you'll fill out a form to make sure your address and your signature matches what they already have in their system. And then you'll also check what party you're affiliated with. Now, that's only if you're doing early voting. Now, if you on election day, if you go on November 3rd, you won't have to do that part. You don't have to select a party when you go on November 3rd. So after that, you go and you hand your information to another poll worker, and they'll again make sure your information matches up to what's in their system. So again, you want to make sure your address and stuff is correct, especially if you've just moved or something like that. And then they'll give you the little card that goes in the machine and you go vote. You cast your ballot, and you might also have some state things that are only specific for your state on your ballot, of course. And then you'll print it out, and then you'll hand it to someone else at the end, and they'll put it in a big machine, the paper part, and then you'll be done. So, I mean, it's quite simple.
Thank you so much, Lydia.
Yeah, no problem, guys. Get out there and vote.
Please listen to her.
Now, let's transition into our next topic. Voting incentives, woo! According to the New York Times, some companies are offering free food, free car rides, discounts, among so many other deals for people who predominantly wear their little I voted sticker. However, technically providing voters with incentives before or after they've voted in a federal election is technically illegal. Shake Shack is offering free order of crinkle cut fries with any purchase for the day of the election. Voters can walk in and flaunt their sticker and use their Shake Shack app to redeem the offer. And for our coffee lovers, Scrumptown Coffee Roasters are offering a free coffee for canvassers, registered voters, and volunteers at the polls on election day. I love it.
I love it too. Let me get some free fries, okay?
Okay.
Also, the first 200 people that can show their voting-related social media post with the hashtag I voted at Brooklyn Bowl in New York can catch a free show. I voted stickers will not work for entry, and the Creativity Museum in San Francisco is offering free admission to voters through Friday.
Here are some of the businesses that plan on making it easier for people to vote or give rewards for voting this year. Uber. Uber is offering users a free ride to a polling place. Thanks. Lyft is offering free and discounted rides to the polls. The free rides are being distributed through Lyft's nonprofit and nonpartisan partners, including Voto Latino, local affiliates of the National Urban League, and so much more. Also, Lime is offering a free ride to the polls up to 30 minutes long by providing access to fleet of their shared bikes, their e-bikes, their scooters. So there's literally no excuse to vote this year, none. Personally, for me, I work 2 jobs. I do a lot. I even voted through mail.
I voted through mail as well. Send your votes, guys. Send your votes. If you are mailing your vote, give it a little bit of time. Don't wait till November 2nd to mail your vote. You got your ballot in the mail, girl or guy. Send your ballot.
Now let's go into our next topic.
We can understand that this election year has been extremely stressful, and we want to remind everyone to practice some healthy methods in order to unwind.
Guys, it doesn't matter if it's working out, praying, meditating, or even talking, right? So please remember to take care of yourselves. So after you cast your vote, go ahead and go to the beach if you are someplace warm like Florida, or take a nice hike and reflect on some positive affirmations. Look at the mountains or something. I think it's time for questions. Okay, let's see if we have any questions for today. How do you ladies feel about the ones being trolled as a pedophile and the other one being a tyrant? Why don't you start, Taylor?
I will start. I will start by saying just my opinion. I think Biden running for president was it was a little random for me. It was a little random. It was very last minute. But we needed someone that was going to be able to have the resources to get someone like Trump out of office. The point is, for me, is to get Trump out of office. I see the other one. I haven't heard, I haven't seen any hard-hitting evidence that, Biden was a pedophile. I haven't seen anything, but if I do, then I definitely, I can, make assumptions then or make my own consciousness then. But as for right now, the tyrant is doing tyrant things and he has got to go.
Personally, personally for me, the pedophile gotta go. And I put the pedophile label under our president before I'll put it under Joe Biden, only because I read and do research, and I really like to know who is running my country, right? And it's not a secret, all these videos and pictures that have roles with Donald and Epstein and all these other people who are not really good people or not really taking care of our country like they should, or who are pedophiles and engaging in sex trafficking and rape, and you have to go. I'd rather the tyrant than the pedophile. You have to go.
Mm-hmm. I definitely do agree that like not a lot of people are saying enough about Trump's connection to Epstein and that huge documentary that came out on Netflix. If you haven't seen it, I think it's called Filthy Rich. But not enough people are talking about it, and I feel like a whole lot of information is still being withheld because he's in office. But I do feel like once he's out of office, we're going to see all of those skeletons that were being so neatly compiled in the closet.
They about to come all the way out. Next question. During the Biden campaign, his daughter mentioned, if you give Biden your phone number, he will call you. Now, do you feel like this is truthful or a part of campaigning? I'll start. I feel like it's definitely a part of campaigning. I don't think that any president would like just answer the phone. Obviously, it's just another way of saying, I got y'all. Or if you need me, I'm there. Right. But you shouldn't have used the phone number analogy because no one's calling you. And I know you're not going to answer my phone call. But if that's your way of connecting and letting us know, hey, you guys, I'm a phone call away. If you guys need anything, I'm here for you. I'm your next president. Then, okay, Biden, I guess. I see you.
I definitely do feel like it is smart. It was a smart move because it lets the American people know that he's listening as much as he can. Right. You know, we know that the president isn't going to solve every single problem that every person has. Like, we know that, but it's good to know that you are at least listening to us and what we are saying. So I think it was a good campaign move.
Even during the debate, he did a lot of eye contact at the camera. He wasn't really talking to Donald. He was more so talking to us. He often mentioned for you at home and for your families at home watching right now. He really cares about the connection between us and him. So I'm gonna accept it.
Right. I definitely do agree. He was doing a lot of this. And I feel like that is very needed because for me, it definitely does feel like Trump is aiding to a higher social class. Let's just call it how it is. I definitely think he's aiding to a higher social class. And I feel as if Joe is with everybody else. Like, we're struggling right now. Some people don't know where their next meal is coming from. And I feel like that's where Joe is coming from. Like, I want to help these people.
Right. Next question. Do you think after the election that some things will actually change in this country for the better? Would you like to go first?
Yeah. Honestly, I feel like it depends on who's elected. I do think a lot of things need to change. I honestly do think we need to start from the ground up and really do a lot of restructuring for things to actually get better. So it really depends on who's elected and what better means to a multitude of people.
Personally, for me, I always see, for example, our President Trump always talks about, when I got into office, you guys left it in shambles and left it in shambles. So the decisions that he makes or has made within the last 4 years, and if he doesn't get reelected, Joe and Kamala are going to have to come in and kind of fix or adjust the things that weren't working or not within their vision, and then start to add stuff to try to change things. So I feel like the process is very long. I feel like 4 years is a very short time for a president to change a lot of things. But Biden has been in office for a long time. He's been here for a while. He knows what he's doing. So, maybe, hopefully he really does have the best interest of the people. And I guess we'll just have to see on November 3rd.
Yeah.
Do you feel like the mail-in ballots will be legit, or do you ladies feel the mail-in ballots may be fraudulent? I do not believe in fraudulent mail-in ballots at all. I feel like the scare tactic is all propaganda. One thing that we do know about our country within the news outlet, whether it was 2020 or 1988, it's all propaganda. They can and will say anything to sway the American people. And there are news outlets that are in favor of certain political parties and not in favor of others. So if I'm watching Fox News, but I'm a Democrat, I'm probably going to not hear things that I want to hear. So I don't think that the mail-in ballots are fraudulent. I feel like they are very legit. It doesn't make sense that they would be fraudulent.
Right. Especially when people have been mailing in ballots for years. The only reason that we are very focused on mailing in ballots this year is because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
People can't go and physically vote.
Right.
So that's the only reason why there's a dilemma about mail-in ballots. But people have been doing this since voting was voting.
Right.
So
It doesn't
I
make
don't
sense
think
for
it's
the
fraudulent. I don't think it's fraudulent at all. I think I feel like I'm going to be the reassuring voice right now if you just mail it in. Just fill it out and just mail it in.
Mail it in.
Because then you know you've done your part.
Mm-hmm. Do you guys think that if Biden or Trump wins the presidency, the protests and violence will go down?
Woo, a heavy question. Do you mind if I start?
Please.
I'm going to be very honest. I'm actually very scared for both sides.
Mm-hmm.
For both sides of the argument, I do feel like Trump has made it very clear that if he does not win, he's kind of like he's not going to be okay with that. And because he has such a following, you don't know what's going to happen in the streets. It could be I think it was it in South Carolina that they had the people with the torches? Was that South Carolina? I don't want to be wrong. But I can see that happening again, and that's very scary to me. And if Biden wins, I can see both sides. Like, I really don't know, and that scares me because it like shows how ununified we are as a people right now, and how separated we are as a people. Like, we're not thinking as like, oh, like we're American. We're thinking as Democrat and Republican, or
red versus blue.
Exactly. Left, like,
exactly. I personally don't think that the protests will stop, and I'm gonna tell you why. Within this last 4 years, I have seen the leader of my country being divisive.
Mm-hmm.
I have never gotten we are all one big happy family vibes from him at all. So the divisiveness has created boldness or proud boys, right? And now it's like they've created some type of like Trump army that's like, if he's not elected, then we're going to go to war. And I've seen a lot of it, and this is not something I've made up. Like, we see the videos that are going viral. We see what's going on Twitter, where people are marching in with Confederate flags and guns, like, seriously, versus people like us who look like you and me that are marching for peace and safety and love and growth. So either way, the protest isn't going to stop. It doesn't matter if it's a red or blue protest or black or white protest. They're not going to stop. I feel like the tensions are so high that both sides are just ready to kind of just
ready to go. And I kind of feel like, just as a Black woman, like, I do kind of feel like if we do protest, I'm saying we as Black people, it's because we feel like the system has failed us.
Mm-hmm.
We're being told to do all these things and things will change, but we're not seeing tangible enough change for us to feel like things have changed, because you're telling me that something has changed, but I still see the same rules, the same framework. Like, until I see something uprooted, I don't think I'm going to be satisfied with the change that we get, because I do think that everything going on is very in the roots and in the like framework of the country. And I do think we need to take out the roots and plant,
Mm-hmm.
you know, something new, because right now whatever this is, it's not working.
It's not supposed to be gave.
Exactly.
It's not giving.
It's not at all. Okay.
What do you think about Trump finally saying he will show his taxes? Okay. Is this America or is this a reality TV show? Because everyone else, they're not required, you know what I'm saying? But it's recommended if the people are asking you for something to go ahead and show it to them. I don't think it's even about his taxes. I think it's about the power of him being able to say, I'll show y'all. Don't worry about it. You're going to see it. Just like the healthcare plan. We got it coming. Y'all just don't worry about it. Y'all going to see it. It's giving me the runaround. So I honestly don't care now. I don't know if any other Americans feel the same way as I do. We've already seen this.
I don't care.
Yeah, we've already seen it.
And let me tell you why. I don't care because I feel like I know it's already a lie.
Mm-hmm.
Because I feel like you've been lying so much at this point.
We don't trust you.
That I don't trust whatever comes out. Is it even real? And I feel like that's really the problem. Our president, the one that we are supposed to, like, the one that we're supposed to trust to run the country, we don't even trust your taxes.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone does taxes. We don't even trust your taxes. Like, what does that say? That's not giving leader.
Definitely not.
And like, it's kind of giving, you know, like, it's kind of like you're waiting for someone to come pick you up and like they never come.
Exactly.
Because it's giving, I'm going to see this on the next episode, but the next episode, it doesn't show it.
Exactly.
Like, how many times are you going to say, you know, you're going to see them, you're going to see them, you're going to see them? Like,
if you wanted to show me, you would have already showed us.
You would have shown it. So what are you hiding still?
This is another part of my answer to the question. Let's remember back in 2008 when Obama was elected for the first time, when I was in the 4th grade. Okay. And I saw how they dragged him on national news. Mm-hmm. Let me see your birth certificate. Mm-hmm. What nationality is your mom? Where's your dad from? Are you a real American?
And he sent it. He gave all the info.
And he still sent it. And they still were hanging Obama pinatas outside their homes in nooses in their front yard. So you can see the difference between presidents and leaders that say they're going to do something and mean it versus the ones that are giving you the run around and kind of like trying to hide stuff or lie to get their way. Next question. Do y'all think COVID will go away after the elections?
Ooh, my bad.
Well, that's a great question. That's a great question.
You know, for some reason, I feel like it depends on who's elected. I definitely, like we were saying with the last question about the vaccine, I think that we'll get to see the actual progress, like after the election, because I think that it's very important, because now we're getting to a point where COVID is starting to affect businesses, because we didn't really think about the election is really close to Black Friday. Black Friday is a lot of, that's where most companies get a ton of their income. Mm-hmm. So if people can't go out and shop, a lot of companies are going underwater. Mm. And Cyber Monday is going to be very different this time. I feel like companies are going to be relying a lot on Cyber Monday. So I feel like if the vaccine isn't out, you know, and people can't go out and get their things, that's affecting more than just, you know, the regular people.
Right.
So maybe it will be out. Maybe they'll, you know, step it up a little, the vaccine, but, you know, it really depends on who's elected, like I said.
I don't think it's going to go away at all. I think that, I feel like even though there are two different parties, everyone kind of knows the same information, right? Mm-hmm. There's nothing that Donald Trump knows that Joe Biden doesn't know. and vice versa. There's nothing Mike Pence knows that Kamala Harris doesn't know. And that's just being a politician and having the same connections and knowing the same people, reading the same documents, and going through the same White House, in and out, in and out. It doesn't make sense that COVID's just going to disappear because someone new has been elected. That it doesn't make sense to me. I feel like it was brought to us. It was kind of like thrown in our faces. And we've never really talked about a solution, which means to me, they don't plan on getting rid of it. Now, for people who do want to do vaccines, because I know there's a split down the middle with the American people about vaccines. People that do want to do vaccines, they can't even have one if they really wanted to get one. You know what I'm saying? Which means this is prolonging quarantine, prolonging people still at home, prolonging if we should send our kids to school or not. It's prolonging everything. So I don't think that an election has any power over the stopping of COVID. It's money. It's money.
It's that part. It's money at the end of the day.
Yeah, it's money. What about Trump's plan on the vaccine? He took it and says he's immune. What are your thoughts? Well, he technically didn't say he took a vaccine. He just said he did some natural, secret, only I got it thing.
Like
he said, like, we have a vaccine. I took the vaccine. He's never verbally said those words.
Right.
And I feel like with Donald Trump, his verbiage is very important. And that's how I can know like what he's really talking about is how he says things. So, and even if you are immune, what did you take?
Exactly. And that's what I was going to get into is that one, I don't really believe him. And two, if you took this thing, what was it? And like, should we trust it? Why do you trust it? You know, like there's just a lot of, we're not getting reassured, you know, quick enough for me. This thing is more like this pandemic is a pandemic. Like, I feel like, you know, the hype has died down a little, but it's still a pandemic and the numbers are going up again. So we need to figure out what you're doing so we can follow suit as the American people. But as a president, I just feel like he's not leading. So
and also, do you think the rich will get the vaccine first? Wow, I was just literally about to say. And also, I feel like the rich were going to get the vaccine first. I literally
how perfect is that?
Because it's the way you went about it. It's the way you even said it to us, right? So we know Donald Trump as a millionaire. We don't really know him as a president, right? And I feel like for you to brag that, yeah, I got it, but I also have the vaccine, I have the cure, and really, I'm probably immune for the rest of my life. It's like I don't know. It's like I got it because, you know, I'm the president. But for all of y'all that had it at home, I'm so sorry. All your loved ones that died, that's just so sad. Anyway, I'm immune for the rest of my life. I don't know. It threw me off.
He said it was going to be distributed by the military.
If it's distributed by the military, I'm not going to take the vaccine. And that's just on period.
Yeah, you know, and like this all goes back to the trust situation. We need a leader that we can trust. And I don't trust that this vaccine is going to be something that I should inject into my body. Just because there's a lot of things that can go wrong. This is a COVID vaccine. Like, if we can just think about for a second, the flu vaccine, for me personally, every time I get a flu shot, I get a little sick.
Right.
Like every time. So COVID is not something to get a little sick. Like COVID is taken very seriously. So I need to see how this vaccine works first. Like I want to see trials. Like I want to see all that scientists experiment stuff that we learned in high school, like the hypothesis, all that. I need to see it because I don't believe that this is going to work the way that you guys say it's going to work. And if it worked for the president, what exactly did he have? And is it the same as this vaccine that you're trying to inject to me right now? So like, it can be the military, it could be the doctors, it could be someone strapping me. I am not taking it until I see actual like results because they can do whatever they want in reports and stuff. Like this is the problem that we're having now with believing in what our president says, because right now I don't believe that even if he gives the vaccine to the military, that's something I should actually take.
Exactly. When you see Black, Latinos, or other ethnicities voting for Trump, do you see that as betrayal? Are we supposed to be united, not divided? Betrayal, no. Misguided is more the word. But I wouldn't even say misguided fully, because Trump's target audience are people with money. And when you have money, color might fade away depending on how much of that money you have. So if I am a business owner who owns a multi-million-dollar franchise as a Black woman, and Joe Biden is telling me that if I make more than $400,000 a year, which I do because I make that in a day, multi-millionaire, and he's going to raise my taxes up 10%. And I'm looking at Trump, and Trump is telling me, don't listen to him. I'm going to lower your taxes for you because you're making a lot of money and you don't need to be paying taxes. Like, you good, I got you. Naturally, I want to be like, okay, so do I want a racist guy that's going to let me keep my money, or a guy that says he's going to help me, but I can't keep my money? I'm probably just going to vote for him. And these are the conversations I'm having with people. These are the things I'm hearing from others, melanated people that have money, a lot of money, and are not looking at Joe at all. Like, not looking at him as an option at all, because I have money. Trump is about money. I'm about money. Trump is for me. So I don't think that's betrayal. I see it as—
This is the problem that I have with that, like, rhetoric. Is it's not about you. Okay, that's a lie. Voting is about all of the American people, yes. But can we think about the bigger picture? The fact is, people who have money can afford to pay taxes. That's just what it is. My taxes are just taken. Like, I don't make that much. So I just have to pay it. Like, I feel like they should just have to. There is no reason that I have to pay the 30% that comes out my check that I need, that extra $100, extra however much you make, that I need, but you can't give up a little of— it's not, okay, let me not say a little because it's a high tax, but like, you're going to have it.
Yeah.
And you're going to be able to, like, still, take care of your family and things like that because you already have money. So you can pay your taxes.
Yeah.
Like, I don't have a choice but to pay mine. So, like, that's why the whole tax situation kind of, like, grinds my gears a little, because you see me rolling up my sleeves.
Yeah.
kind of grinds my gears a little, because why is that really an issue? That has been so, like, instilled in America that you have to pay taxes for other public things to go on the way that they should go on, public transportation, public schooling, like free lunch, like things like that go on are because of taxes. So you shouldn't have a problem paying taxes because you can pay for, private schooling or whatever, what may have you. Your taxes are for everyone else, just how my taxes are for everyone else. So you keeping your money is unfair. Why don't I get to keep my 30% on my check? And that's the problem I have with that, is that they're thinking that's just thinking about the money. Like, you need to think of the bigger picture. Like,
which are the people.
And you're up, and most people who have money are a part of that 1-2%.
Right.
Everybody else is a part of that 99, hun. We need to get it too.
Yeah.
Like, next question.
What is the next question, child? When people say they are moving out of the USA if Trump wins, do you believe them? I've said it before. I've definitely said it before. I definitely have woke up one day and watched the news all day long, or been on Twitter all day long, and have said, Mom, we're going to Nigeria. We're going somewhere else that's not here. But in our reality, the people, we're just talking about that 99%. We're not the 1 and 2. We can't really just pick up and just go anywhere else. Like, some people can, a lot of people cannot. Not a lot of people have kids, people have families, people have responsibilities, multiple jobs, multiple streams of income that they cannot leave the USA. So there's a lot of wanting to leave the USA. No one wants to be in a country where you have to scream Black Lives Matter every day. That's not ideal. But do I really think that people are going to get up and leave? Absolutely not.
Yeah, I have the same opinion. I was talking to my mom the other day. We're from Barbados, and she was like, if he wins, you know, I'm just gonna pack up my stuff and I'm just gonna go to Barbados for 4 years. And I'm just like, okay, mom, but like you gotta fill out a visa. Like there's things to do
Yeah.
to leave. Like you have to get accepted into that country. Like there's a whole bunch of things that you have to do to like just flee. But I do think there's something to be said about people who are saying like, if this president wins, I don't even want to live in this country anymore.
Yeah. Like
that does a lot. Like why that should say a lot to a lot of people is what I'm saying. Like they feel like their country is not being run correctly. So
and like you said, our country. This is our country. This is the country for the people. We elect you. It's not, you're not the king. So next question. So what does an ideal first 100 days of action look like?
Do you want to start with this one?
Okay. So when you vote based off of your personal interest, right? So Joe often brings up, if I get reelected, I'm going to make sure 11 million undocumented immigrants get X, Y, and Z and DACA and this, that, and the third, because that was the biggest problem from the Trump administration. I feel like the first 100 days is looking through what's been going on the last 4 years, seeing what the people have been receptive to, what has divided the people, what has hurt the people, what gains to the people, and go from there. So if from the last 4 years, you see the biggest issue for the biggest issue to be undocumented immigrants, 11 million, the first 100 days, I want to see you do something DACA. That's why I'm looking. You know what I'm saying? Or if the Trump administration was locking people up like left and right, I would look at the first 100 days for the Biden administration for prison reform. You know what I'm saying? So I think it just depends on what happened the last 4 years before they came into office. They need to learn from the past president's mistakes.
So I'm just gonna say what I want for the first 100. If we were to move to a new administration, Biden has said a lot. For me, one of what matters to me a lot is climate change. Because honestly, we're doing a lot of fighting, you know, but like at the end of the day, the world might be ending. Like we do not have time to argue about economic, like not economic, what's the word I'm looking for? It's not economic, but we don't have time to argue about like the earth is what I'm saying. Like we do need to rejoin the Paris Accord. Like we need to do everything that we can do to get this air clean, to like, you know, just have the earth breathing so like it doesn't end, because then there's nothing to fight about, because then we're not here. You know what I'm saying? So I definitely think rejoining the Paris Accord is a part of what I want to see in the 100 days. I do want to see them children reunited with their parents, because that is our fault as US. Like we need to fix that, because there's 500 children like with no mom and dad.
That's just documented.
And that's just what we know. Mm-hmm. And I know there's a lot that we don't know. Mm-hmm. So I definitely want that to be a part of the 100 days as well. And I definitely do need, Biden said that he wanted to bring together, you know, police chiefs and BLM official, like people who, you know, represent BLM. Right. And like, they need to bring those people together, because we need to figure out this situation with the police sooner than later. Someone got shot today. Someone was it today? It was either yesterday or today that a Black man was killed in Philadelphia by police.
My brother.
So we need to figure that out quick, fast, and in a hurry in the first 100, because I'm tired. And I feel like the Black community is tired. The Black community been tired, if we're gonna be honest. So I need something figured out sooner than later. And it needs to be within the first 100. Because if it's not, then what are we doing? I'm tired of waiting. How long we gotta wait? It's already been 100 years.
It's been 4.
Okay?
It's been 4.
It's been 4.
We being real.
Like,
I think we have time for one last question, I think. How do you think Biden and Harris will improve Black lives? Will they? This is a great question.
it is.
I love this question. How do I think Biden and Harris will improve Black lives? Well, being completely honest, knowing Kamala's track record before she was announced as Biden's running mate, wasn't that clean. We're a part of Generation Z, okay? And before he announced her as running mate, we on the Black Twitter family, we weren't really fond of her.
Not even a little.
And that's just the truth, though. But as a Black woman being a running mate as a vice president, it's like, you know what? We're just gonna go ahead and trust our gut and hope and pray. And that's my real answer. I have no real concrete evidence that she will help. This is based off fingers crossed and hopes and prayers. Joe, just because he was the vice president with Obama, that doesn't necessarily mean to me that he is for Black lives. Bernie Sanders was a great example of somebody that we really thought was here for us. You know, and it really hurt us when, he wasn't able to go forward with the election, right? So it's just kind of like, a part of me feels like, let me get a Black woman to run with me to kind of help out the Black voter turnout, regardless if she's really for Black lives or not. And like in the next 4 years, it's going to be too late to see, you know what I'm saying? Like, we've already voted them. We already elected them. They're already the president, the vice president. So now it's like, we just kind of have to deal with whatever they do and don't do. I personally don't think that things will really change. I see a lot of Black communities doing their own thing now because we are kind of like, you know what, regardless of who gets elected, I think we should just start investing in ourselves again. Right. I've seen more Black banking. I've seen more of Black people doing stuff for ourselves instead of waiting for our political officials to do something for us. I've definitely seen that. I've seen that all year.
I definitely do agree. There's been a spike in Black businesses. There's been in like the support of Black businesses. There's been just a spike in Black creators getting more of a platform. Like there's just, I just think we're tired of waiting. Like I said, I think we're tired of waiting for something to happen that we don't have any choice but to do things for ourselves. As for do you think they'll do anything for, the Black community? I don't know, honestly and truly. Because there's been a lot of showboating going on. And we know it's for the campaign, we know they're saying a lot of things. It's a whole lot of talk for me. A whole lot of talk for me. And until I see some action, until I see some meetings go down, until I see things actually change, because for the Black community, we do need a lot of things uprooted, like I said before, because there's a lot of things that are rooted for us to fail within America. So I do think there's a lot of things that need to be uprooted. Do I think those two can do it? Maybe, maybe not. We have to get a lot of Congress seats replaced. Like there's a lot of voting to happen, like state-wise as well, if we want a lot of things changed. So I don't know if they're gonna do a lot. I think Kamala is cute on the ballot, but I also do think he did that for the Black vote.
And before we close, I just want to say, what does doing something for Black lives mean? What do Black communities need? And once you figure out what we need, that's when you can kind of figure out like, okay, this is a problem, so let me find a solution. But if it's like, I know Black people are down bad, I'm gonna help y'all out. We're gonna make sure y'all not down bad no more. How? How?
Exactly. It's
What
the
do we
how
do?
that we're looking for.
Our,
It's
our,
the
the
how
black
and
community.
it's the carrying out. We need actual action because I'm tired of seeing, oh, we're gonna do this, 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 and this, but we are still in the same spot.
Yeah.
So I'm looking for the action, and I'm honestly gonna be disappointed if nothing happens, honestly and truly, because I'm really looking. I want that meeting with the officials. I want it taped. Like,
Yeah.
I need actual evidence now. Like, after this president that we have currently, I want to see everything.
Me too. Well, that wraps up our town hall for today. Thank you guys so much for tuning in tonight, and join us for our next town hall on Tuesday, November 2nd, the day before the election. I'm so pumped.
Follow either of our Boss FM and Black News Alert social medias for more up-to-date information on the election.
And if you guys have any suggestions or comments or questions that you would like answered in the next town hall, feel free to tag us on Twitter at BossFM Digital or at Black News Alerts, or use the hashtag BossFM Town Hall. Let us know what you want to hear.
With that being said, remember to register to vote. Please, I'm begging you, register to vote. There is only 7 days left until election day. So with that being said, register to vote. Send in your ballot if you haven't sent it. I know it's probably sitting on the kitchen counter, child. Just send it. Put it in the mailbox and send that.
Your vote matters. Once again, I am Jaleesa.
And I am Taylor. Thank you for joining us tonight, and have a good night.